Hello. Okay, here we go. The voice is coming through. We had a bit of a longer break than I expected, but you guys looked like you were having such a good time, and it wasn't like we were doing anything behind the scenes at all. So now we come to our final act. Yeah, I thought, yeah. Are you ready? Our final act is C sharp. Please put your hands together for C sharp.
I cannot believe how full this place is still. Because the first two acts were just spectacular, and thank you, basically. Thank you so much for sticking around. This is great. My name is C sharp, as was just said, and I have an American accent. Can you tell? Yeah, just a little bit. Raise of hands if anyone thinks that my parents are Ethiopian or Somali or anything like that. Hands up. Yeah. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's like 25% of the group. I'm not good with maths, but 25%. I'm not. I'm black. I'm a black American, and I'm Native American as well. My father is indigenous, so I have this weird combination that makes me look like I should be Ethiopian. And a lot of times I walk into airports and people start talking to me in a different language. I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, you're not Ethiopian, are you? No. Like, I appreciate the cuisine a lot. In fact, there's a place next door that's so good. Go check it out. Anyway, back to me. As you know, my American accent probably places me in America, and that's accurate, yes. No. I'm glad you tried to represent, but like, have you seen the news recently?
I know.
I know.
I just did the ironic noise. We get it in this country.
Oh gosh. Okay. So when people speak to me, that's like the first thing that they pick up on. In fact, I think it's happened tonight actually. I just said hello, and someone's like, "Where are you from? You got an accent." I'm from Kansas. Raise your hands if anyone knows where Kansas is. Exactly. There are people that think to Kansas. This is so weird. Okay, so for everyone else in the room, which is most of you, Kansas is in the very center of the United States of America. In fact, if you look at a map, you cannot miss it if you look at the very center part of America. But it is also the part that most people overlook because it's not exactly a touristy destination. There's nothing fun happening there. There's no real controversy apart from the fact that it's the Bible Belt and everyone loves Trump and everything that Trump has to represent. Yay! And I'm black. So hey, that's kind of a complicated situation, which is why I wrote this book. This is called The Swagger of Dorothy Gale and Other Filthy Ways to Strut. Now Dorothy Gale is the main character from The Wizard of Oz, which I'm sure when I said Kansas, that was the first thing that sprung to everyone's mind. Oh yeah, The Wizard of Oz, right? So I wrote this book in response to everyone else's response of the fact that I'm from Kansas. I wanted to rewrite the trope, the narrative of how Kansas is portrayed and how, more specifically, how Black people in Kansas are erased because we exist. So I wanted to use the story of the Wizard of Oz in order to empower myself and people like myself. That's my introduction. Okay, here we go into poetry. Ready? I'm going to start with a poem called How to Swagger. It's an introduction. Dorothy Gale was really a black girl, if you want to know the truth. She woke each morning with Sunday shoes on her feet and the grumpy Monday blues in her heart and those funny Negro dreams in her head. And her pigtails never moved, never flopped when she walked, and her hair couldn't dangle, couldn't swing, never danced in the wind, but ooh, she could boogie. if you want to know the truth. She could shake those bony hips and pop that bony back and no child. Aunt Em say, snapping her fingers in that girl's face, pulling a handful of that kinky head through wide teeth and dragging it over a greased up scalp, and yanks and yanks and yanks and yanks again. And then hot combs the whole room with that smoky, thick, Louis Armstrong smile that all the teenagers can dig. And Dorothy Gale, she wore 4 braids back then, if you really want to know, and they stuck out her head shouting from end to end to end to end to end. And she had no friends. No friends to hold her hand and skip on down the road. A lonely girl with a stupid dog and a stupid family and a stupid former plantation. And she was the most lonely black girl in all of Kansas, and Kansas was the loneliest land of all. So that's the first one I wanted to share with you. The second poem, it's mostly about the essence of the Midwest. It's kind of like an origin story poem. And it took me a long time to write it, so I broke it up into 3 different sections, and I'm just going to show the first one for now. It's called Mid-Rusted. I was a complimentary toothpick. A Saturday morning yard sale and a hand-me-down. I came from grandfather clocks and time with no hands, limbs with needle holes, lost teeth, black teeth, chipped teeth, and tear-shaped tattoos. But I was born with mullet fever, hair teased and a razor blade on my tongue. I came from trailer parks, from railroad tracks and truckers, hitchhikers and hobos, bruises and scabs, but I was the neighbor's sugar. An apple pie on the windowsill. I was a sweetheart, a hayride, a first kiss. And I was a corncob pipe. I was beef jerky and pawpaws chewing tobacco. I was turpentine and matchstick. I was pocket lint, and we are this sticky heat. We are Bud Lights, Schlitz, Jack, cocaine, paint thinner, potato chips. And I was the whole damn state fair. I came from rolling pins and bobby pins and my auntie's blue moo-moo. I came from a pallet bed on a dirt floor, a hand-stitched quilt. I came from patches of fabric, knick-knack, paddywhacked, gave a dog my bones, my spit, my tears, my bones. I came from rabbit skins and deer heads. Up high, down low, too slow. I came from sawdust and grits, sweat and grit, raindrops and thimbles, miles of barbed wire and prairie and plains. I came from the cattails of the ditches, the twigs in the gutter. Thank you. So, most of my poetry, I feel like, is landscape poetry. Well, in this book anyway. It talks mostly about my experiences living in a place that most people don't ever look at. And I also wanted to attempt to write a love poem, even though that's not really my style. So this is my very first love poem ever. It's called The Llama Lady of the Barn Dance, and it's, well, I won't explain it more than that. Well, one more thing. The way that it's written on the page, it's supposed to look like 2 different people dancing. So it's called the Llama Lady of the Barn Dance. I want to sweat with you tonight, little twig of wheat, blooming between teeth as we sway beneath moonbeams on the meadow. where no one can hear my prayers. May I have this dance? And I'm promising you that I will not stagger like a wasp woman searching for her nest. And I know that the shameless lads in the tight greased shirts will not step the way that I have seen you stepping tonight. And baby, I cannot stand big ladies with little voices always whispering, no. Like they were avoiding someone's damnation. But not you. You are a Cabbage Patch giggle. And if I could cup your waist, I'd roll you easy, girl. But if my feet do not move, if my palms do not bloom to your back, it is because I am no gentleman. I need you to tell me that my breasts smell like raindrops. I need to know if your legs smell like cinnamon sticks. And we may never, ever be brave witches waltzing towards the electrical static eyelash of a moon before they hang us in the thick night jacket of June, but let us give it a go. Let us tiptoe, leave the scattered yellow teacups, small as thimbles, gritty pools of cheap old wine. Leave your bow and leave this barn. Take my arm and let me lead you into the pasture. Let me feed you tiny kisses, barefoot stepping. And you know, I really think you could like it with me. In little sips, pinkies pointing to Jupiter, and little sips with me. It's so weird to read this book out loud because it was published a couple of years ago, 2017 it says. And I honestly haven't really thought about it more since like a year and a half ago, something like that. So it's really nice to come back to these poems and see how I've grown and developed, but also just appreciate the fact that like this is my very first one and I can only get better from that. The next poem I want to read is about my hometown. It's called Manhattan, which gives everyone this idea of New York City and like the cosmopolitan area that's very beautiful and everyone wants to visit. But Manhattan, Kansas, that's a very different story. It's a very unique place. The thing that stuck out in my mind the very first time I ever saw, because I moved there when I was a teenager, and the very first thing that I noticed about this place was that there's this massive hill in the middle of town. It's massive. And it has these white letters on the side of it, kind of like Hollywood, you know the Hollywood sign? But it doesn't say Hollywood, obviously. It says Manhattan. And I just thought that was really, really weird and also amazing at the same time. And it's kind of like this kissing spot where teenagers go and like they make out. So I wrote a poem about it. Also, warning, I will spit a lot while reading this poem. I'm gonna get sprayed. From top this hill and top this enormous letter H, you can watch the redness soaking into every tree. Hear the leaves giggle shaking from their stems. Hear the bustle spreading through this undulating town. And even now, the whispers are swarming over everything. And even now, they are screeching and scuttling, and off they go, sloughing around the valley like a plague. And the Tuttle Creek is a murmur mumble. And the Vista Drive-In is a burble babble. And Aggieville is just guffawed and chuckle snorted, and no one can avoid this clumsy tinkle knocking of spoons swirling in a purple bowl of dust. All rusty colored foliage and last chances. And did you hear about Linda? And did you hear about Bill? Oh, and the preacher said it, oh, can you believe? And the nerve of a good Lord, the rustle and the snicker and the whistle scandal swishes. I like that one. I'm just going to return back to the mid-rusted poem because technically I broke it up into 3 poems. So I'm going to read the second and the third one in a row, or at least attempt to. So this is mid-rusted 2. I came from 6 shooters and denim, belt buckle and bandana, oiled saddle, and woo! Doggy! You could say I was a bank robbery, a horse, a buggy, a wagon wheel, a freight train, depot. I was rodeo. No, I am rodeo. I come from move 'em on, head 'em up, write 'em in, cut 'em out, call 'em out, write 'em in, rawhide. I was Johnny Caw and a call chief. I was a buffalo herd, an outlaw. Limestone, Osage oranges, and snake venom. I was a country western show, a rope for a lasso, a rope for a lynching, a rope to walk on, a line to cross. And I was God and gospel, a rickety pew, and amen, I am intelligent design and Bible study. I am heaven, Confederate heartache, Jim Crow, uh-oh. I come from barn dances and ragdoll smiles, eye holes and sheet cloaks, and trick or treat, smell my feet, bring me something good to eat like salt water taffy and molasses barbecue, Cracker Jacks, bazooka bubble gum, Cap'n Crunch. You know, I was an all-you-can-eat buffet and a purse full of coupons. I was bare feet on bicycle pedals, bare feet on gas stations, bare feet on porch swings, dirty toenails, climbing chain-linked fences. You know, I came from a mouthful of soap. And go on and get me some lemonade, child. I came from chicken coops and kittens under the house, from mud pies and cow tipping and teepees in the woods. I came from tire swings and playgrounds made of rust, from thunder that rolls like marbles, laughs like hopscotch, skinned knees and skinned heads. I am a pair of breeches, washed in a crick, bursting with crawdads. I was corn-fed and grew some hair on my chest. I am a coyote. I am a cicada orchestra. There's a pause because I couldn't remember what the third one was. And I can still ride a twister's back, grind a twister until my thighs turn black and blue. And I won't ever remove my grin. And I will always stomp the rubble when it's over. I'm a pair of stretched and stained panties, a pair of muddy boots in the bathtub gin. And I came from garbage burned and rusted oil drums. But nowadays, I am just a thinned, floral print bedsheet, pinned up to the clothesline, flapping about in this strange space. And when folks ask me where it is that I come from, I just shrug like a box turtle, fold a stray hair behind my ear, and gaze towards where the pink sunset should probably be. So, I hope that gives you some idea of what it's like to be in the Midwest. One of my professors in university told me that a good poem is basically just a list of items, a list of ideas. So that's what I really tried to do when I wrote those 3 poems. The next one is called Sunflower Seeds, and it's in the second section of this book. And the section starts off with the Kansas motto, which is in Latin. It's called Ad Astra per Aspera, which means to the stars through difficulties, which I think is really appropriate when it comes to people from the Midwest. They kind of just take the hard way, you know? They don't really go towards where things are easier with technology and like fashion and stuff. It's just like, yeah, we know this, we're gonna keep going this way. So this poem is about femininity and in the Midwest at the same time. It's called Sunflower Seeds. Oh, and the one thing I think you should know about is that I referenced someone called Amelia Earhart, who was the very first female aviator to cross the Atlantic Ocean solo. She's from Kansas, Atchison, Kansas. And like I said, most people think about the Wizard of Oz when they think about Kansas, but they don't think about these really powerful women that have existed in the past. So I really wanted to have I want to represent her, basically. I bet we could fly away like thousands of Amelias if we could just loosen these bonnets and scatter our lovely ancient bones over someone else's grave before the wishes expire. And who could blame us? And did you know that all the Kansan queens have been choked? We are all born with a Bible belt wrapped around our necks. Oh my God, she's calling the cross a necklace now? And oh my Lord, what were they thinking letting their child leave the house like that? Have they no shame? These kids ain't got no respect. But near our folks' little house, prayers will grow like weeds in the ditches, wildly discarded like empty beer cans. Our Marlboro boyfriends who chuck out their Chevy pickup trucks as they drink and chuck and drink and smoke along those little dirty roads leading straight to nowhere, in no place. And we still let the wind pull our hair out the window, pilot our hand through the current, bare toes propped on the dashboard, eyes closed, humming to the radio static. But can you blame us? And did you know that all the Kansan queens have cut their lips on the prairie grasses, blowing their vertical harmonica whistles whilst they walk barefoot, soles like leather treading, and we have baked mud pies in the sun. And we have hunted the crickets and the street cats and the lightning bugs and never eaten the possum. And we are all the same. Some are shy, some insane. We take our secrets to the grave or to the chapel or hang them from telephone wires. Let them sing like wind chimes. Let them sing like gospel, sing like marvelous gray ghosts in the heartland. So I never learned to do-si-do, but I could shuck the shit out of any sunflower. Rip it to bits, eat it up like a bird, spit out the shells on the other coastlines if I wanted to. And I never wanted to breathe like this. No one ever chooses to breathe like this, sighing in reverse, preparing for the worst, but can you blame us? This could have happened to you. And every Kansan queen has seen the sky tinted green and heard the thunder echoing, it's echoing. And we know the weariness of neighbors poking onto porches, waiting, and we have heard the sirens and we know their warnings. But still, we race into the middle of our streets wearing nothing but cut-off shorts and ripped-up shirts because we're gonna watch the sky start spinning and spinning. We all have drowned in the ocean of the moonlight, coughing up our wishes, up our childhood, up our days, and we still think that bruises look pretty. And we still toss hair clippings over the lawn. And we are still stubborn and still eager and still feisty and still fragile. And we are all still the rustic colors of American beautiful. And we're still here on the front yard sofa, popping off the ends of green beans for supper. And we are so tired. And there we go, dreaming ourselves to death. But sometimes we still think of flying off the coastline like Amelia did. And can you blame us? And did you know that this could have happened to anyone? This could have even happened to you. Any history buffs? American history buffs. One American history buff. Okay, tell me about Bleeding Kansas. Nope. That's okay. I feel like the only reason why I know about Bleeding Kansas is because I had an education in Kansas. Bleeding Kansas was basically this 7-year violent battle that happened right before the Civil War. Basically, America was fighting over this Kansas territory, which is in the very middle, like I said, and they were wanting it to be either pro-slavery or anti-slavery. And Kansas was kind of neutral at the time, so like there is a lot of fighting over this. And there was this one man named John Brown. He was a white guy. He wasn't even from the Midwest. And he came into this area. He was an abolitionist. He was like very anti-slavery, and he was so militant about it that he fought people and he killed people, and he had sons who fought people and killed people just to make this land, well, we'll say America's land, without slaves. And so I wanted to write a poem about him. Is there anything else I wanted to say about it? Oh yeah, that he was the leader of a massacre called the Potawatomi Massacre, which was not very far from where my hometown is. Fun fact. So, let me find the page. This is called John Brown Returns for the Black Lives Matter movement. This is for you. And it starts with a quote from John Brown himself on the 2nd of December, 1859. It was the day of his execution. He said, "I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land can never be purged away, but with blood." 1. When I realized John Brown was executed the same day as that freed Negro woman back in Kansas, who was forced to have relations with each brown son John fathered, I muttered under my breath, "Fuck 'em." And I knew that I wanted all 7 of his sons dragged out behind a dumpster. Wanted them shaved and bleached, tongues snipped off and screaming. And I knew that I was turning against my instinct to please my very first so-called abolitionist, who offered to be another white savior. And if given the needle, I questioned if I could strap down any supremacist and inject him like another euthanized patient upon the table. If you don't fight us, they snarl at Black women, at Latinx, at me, it will be over soon. But if we pocket these promises like milk teeth, our grandbabies will still be fed an injustice, a compromise, a death. 2. The night that Trayvon was shot, I was in line at the drive-thru praying for another tragedy, for a different terror. I told the menu board, yes! At the time, I thought I wanted to taste every GMO under the sun, and glow green like this could be an initiation. Was it coercion? Was the police telling you to point at the goddamn black guy, so you point at the goddamn black guy? Like, this could be Mayberry or Maycomb or someplace that's Confederate. And taking responsibility can mean taking your own life, and taking the wrong turn can mean crashing that Black Panther house party. And I wonder, whose ass would old Potawatomi Brown bust a cap in tonight? A white cop? A white collar? The whole delicate system of white privilege? Although everything crumbles beneath the power of colors, the fulcrum of this matter is not blackness, it's dignity. But to get the job done, we need something bigger, like a Jesus and a My Doll, or a Snickers and a trigger. Keep going, okay, I'll keep going. Okay. I want to move on to the poem that this book is named after, the namesake poem, The Swagger of Dorothy Gale. I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest, apart from in The Wizard of Oz, the film. As you know, I'm sure everyone's seen the film. Is there anyone that hasn't seen The Wizard of Oz?
No.
Yeah, everyone. Oh my God! You can stay. That's your homework, okay? Everyone else here knows who Dorothy Gale is. She's the main character from The Wizard of Oz. And in the film, Kansas is always portrayed as black and white. So I wanted to play with that imagery of it being gray. 1. I did this to myself. Asked for it. Pretended I wanted to come back here. Thought I deserved deportation into the gray lands. And desperation feels like fists snagging grass petals. It feels like life has always depended on a single color that can never be my own. And I predicted all these ashes, all this tooth rot, predicted the cancers, the graphite, the dead, tarnished eyes of park statues, expecting all their pigeons shit. Kansas is gray like this. And I predict that Kansas will always be gray like this. 2. We know this gray, like the oldness that creeps over us, like slow motion, like forced smiles on grandmothers, remembering how they used to look, just the way that you do, child. And no one wants to die here, it's true. They tell you, no one chooses to die here. But when the last drop has been sipped and the last scone has been jammed, when it's time to return your tiny servette to the table where it was found, push back your seat, excuse yourself away, shuffle up the wooden stairs like your Nana would do. Put on your silver Sunday shoes like your Nana would do, and throw on a shawl. Take your time and breathe. Ease into your rocker like a hot bath. Sway as if the wind from an open window were blowing you back. Dig in your heels like you're being forced to go back to that horrid grayness that you belong in. And it's true. Kansas is gray tonight. 3. Don't be fooled by all those shocked-faced shadows swinging from the branches. Sad to say, they ain't surprised. They knew their day was coming like that. They planned their hauntings, drew up the blueprints with twigs in the mud. The night before their after parties, they hung up their streamers, mixed their punch, reviewed the guest list, and chuckled into pieces. And you can find them in the city parks at night, queued at the little gray water fountains with white written in black letters like it's all just an inside joke that the living folks seem to have forgotten nowadays. that claim to understand, and I just don't understand why we are still stuck in this Dust Bowl age, sinking into grainy filmed pictures. We are pitchfork arms. We are crosses burning like hallelujah. We smell like tar. We vomit feathers. And I don't think it makes anyone colorblind to see that it is so damn gray here. They call this black and white, but it's just gray here. Can you see us? Starving like those Africans? We let the flies bite our bones like we could be some Africans. We dig in the dirt or sweat on our porches praying because all the sunshine has been filtered straight from heaven. But sad to say, it's true. The holiness is smudged away and God's thumbs are ever so distinctly tinted gray, too. Not even the demented can shriek like those meadow larks, who only rattle a little on our beak-strung necklace. Like everything that is a sacrifice. And we shall wear their feathers if we ever wish to fly, so just pluck them all. Clothe my boy in the colors. Masquerade him like this inky sunshine bird. You know, I used to be an angel. You know? With the souls of the dead in my palms like crystal goblets. I used to be an angel, but I never sip when I drink. I throw shit. I thrust my wings like hell. I dare you to do a goddamn thing about it. And everything is sacrifice, you know? And you have to be careful down here. Try not to eat up all the wood rats. And when the copperheads and the cottonmouths start rolling down the valley, do not move. They will trip us down, beat us up, bruise our bones over those limestones, rip you into pieces, scatter you over these hills like crusted drops of flint. You have to be careful down here. Everything is sacrifice. And I used to be an angel, you know, but I should have been a bobcat, chewing on the spines of prairie dogs, lapping up the streams, marking up the slopes, panting in the shade of my den, please, and purring. But my wings look bomb-blasted in this place. Hear the coyotes weeping this lullaby on the plains, where I will just disrobe amongst my melancholy lovers. And you will think that my breasts look nearly sacred beneath the orange of a harvest moon, and the blood in my hair will dry quickly, you know? And your anguish, it can't last forever. Oh, and that wailing, it will just, you know? I was an angel once, but tonight I will sway like a dying pregnant fawn as the magnificent prairie bursts into flames like hallelujah. This is the last one. It's the last poem I want to share with you. It won an award in America, kind of this award that I was really proud of, the Pushcart Prize.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Someone knows about it.
Yeah.
And so I was very proud of it winning, and it's the very first poem in the book. It's called The Tall Grass Shuffles, and I wrote it because basically Kansas is so flat typically that the sky feels like it's much bigger than it should be. It feels like the sky is swallowing up the people and the land and the buildings and the trees and everything else underneath it. And also, I was having my period at the time. So it's kind of this weird combination that I hope you will enjoy because it's definitely one of my favorite poems that I've written. The Tall Grass Shuffles. Last night, the wind said, "Be careful, girl. The moon be watching." Said, "Keep your fingers out the mud, keep your tongue in your head." Said, "The moon is watching you." Said, "She'll pull you apart like the tide when your time comes, girl. Rip out your womb like a second heart and drag it on the asphalt like roadkill." Said, "You smell like roadkill. Ooh, you taste like shit, girl." Said, "Be careful, the moon be watching and she gonna be mad. She gonna tie you to the shed cause you ain't primp enough for no ribbons, girl. You ain't show girl, you ain't top breed, you ain't pedigree, girl. Girl, bad girl, sick girl, dead girl, going, sold. Just like that, girl. The moon be watching. So slow down, child." Said, "Be still, girl." Said, "Quit that noise." Said, "Stop that shine." Said, "Shuck that corn." Girl, she's seen you bust the limestones brittle. Do the tall grass shuffles like dance moves, like prairie inferno hopscotch, like, ooh, shoot. Said, "Ooh, girl, stop playing. Now smooth down your dress and fold up your tail and zip shut that grin and pin back your ears." Said, "The moon be watching you." So be careful. Said, "Swoosh," and such. Said, "Heal like a girl." Said, "Stay like a girl." Said, "Die like a girl." Thank you, everyone. You've been a fantastic audience.